Joe, it's nice to finally talk to you, I guess. I don't know.
How long has it been since we kind of first somewhat interact? 4 years?
God, don't date me that long. Don't tell me it was 4 years ago.
Because I remembered did you comment on Paranormal Report?
I commented on something.
I think you did. I can check.
The first interaction I remember having is when you gave me shit for stealing your ham radio sound effect in my own VHS.
Oh yeah.
You made a comment on my video, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's got the notification you were mentioned, and I think I was like, oh, what was I mentioned? And oh. I noticed that the only comment I was able to find of you was on the new improved tape, and you said it might just be a font, but shouldn't it be Freddy Jr.'s logo? Be Junior's, then Jizz? Because the Freddy Jr.'s logo that I made back in 2020, the R looked like an S, so it looked like it was a double S.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people bugged me about that. I'm like, shut up.
So you do a lot of your own artwork, right? Or do you have somebody that does because I noticed you have a lot of custom logos, like your Fredbear's Family Diner one.
Oh yeah, the logos. Yeah, I do them actually.
Really? That's awesome. Because I know for videos that I make, logos can be fairly difficult sometimes, but
yeah, I can see how it's difficult.
Especially if you're not graphically designed inclined.
Luckily I somewhat was, but not professionally.
That's awesome. Joe, welcome to the night shift.
Night shift. Where do I work?
You're for tonight. You're working here.
Doing what? I should be told. It was mandatory.
Well, obviously, it's mandatory you be here because your job is to tell me a little bit about yourself, Joe. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Joe. I make Joe videos on Joe channel that has Lonic. Second, yeah, Joe videos. Used to make tape mediocre. Future projects maybe. Second channel, random shit.
Awesome. So, first question I gotta ask off the bat, I'm asking everybody this. What animation software do you use?
SFM, always staying with the GOAT.
Staying with the GOAT, because obviously...
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously, I feel like in the animation community, it's a very big jump between SFM or Blender. Then you get the weirdos who jump out to Cinema 4D.
Yeah, it's funny with me because I tried getting to Blender back in 2017, and I was dumb, so I didn't understand anything. It's like, so I just stayed with SFM because I'm like, it pleases my brain.
Yeah, I think the one benefit SFM has over Blender, at least in my opinion, is gotta be the Steam Workshop, because Blender doesn't have that, and if you're trying to find a model, that shit sucks.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So, I guess let's talk about your channel a little bit. You made your channel on June 24th of 2018. To me, that's at least to me, that's a little late in the game. That's FNAF.
I think what I remembered from that, I made multiple channels on that exact date and that exact year, because I was pretty much back then when I was 13, 14, I was pretty much a nuisance of an individual. I would just make a bunch of the same accounts and just harass someone for no reason. And so after all that, I was like, I didn't know what to do with the accounts. And when I think it was the fall of 2018 at that point, I was thinking of what if because at the time, I left the FNAF fandom for I think I was after Ultimate Custom Night released, yeah. And I was thinking of just stepping my foot back in. So I was thinking of a name for that channel. And I was thinking about it because I didn't want anything to be generic or too cliche with FNAF. So I was just thinking of what if I just make a basic first name, surname. And of course, I wanted to make it sound unique. So I was like, okay, Joe something. Then I messed around with a bunch of words, and I think tonic was like a tonic, like a drink, was stuck in there. I was like, didn't work really well. So I decided to change up the letters. Then L, like Lonic, worked really well with JoeLonic. So I was like, okay, I'll just stick with that name. Made one video that is private back in 2018. Then I just abandoned it because I'm like, no, I don't know really much what to do with it. And then, I kind of brought it back in 2020. And yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was that's really interesting, because I feel like a lot of YouTubers, like in their early days when making their channel, I can attest to myself, like I made so much crap that I would not want to have seen, and it's just my YouTube channel is like probably got hundreds of videos that are just privated now of like Minecraft Let's Plays and face reveals from when I was 10.
Yeah. Because I still have my old channel that was made back in 2013. And I used to have a bunch of like FNAF SFM collab parts from 2015, 2016, but my dumb was insecure because around time, because I started high school, I was kind of too open as a person, and so I was like, leave me alone. And so I just deleted like most of them, which I kind of regret now, because there's something called privating the video, then deleting it.
So you've animated a lot. You've animated before before Joe Lonic came into existence.
Yeah, way before.
So, I guess I want to ask you your first interaction with Five Nights at Freddy's as a series. Like, I guess I want to know, what was the first contact? A friend at school, some YouTuber playing it, and you were like, oh, this looks interesting. I guess walk me through that first interaction with the game.
It's close with school. I think it was beginning of September. Usually it was me starting my last year primary school before high school, and usually it starts on Wednesdays and Thursdays because Mondays are shit. And I remember early in the morning I was watching those AMVs, the one with like Eve has like Light Nightcore or like Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit playing in the background, showing a bunch of like DeviantArt artwork. Yeah. And I remember seeing one with Foxy. So Foxy, I was like, who's that? And then I scrolled down the comments and they said that, oh, nice FNAF. Oh, and I was like, what is that pronounced? So I searched that up, and for a glimpse moment when I saw like all the thumbnails of the Let's Plays, like Yummy Mash, Markiplier. My parents called me, like, hey, time for school. I'm like, oh, god damn it. So for the entire day at school, I was just daydreaming about it. And then when I got home that day, I watched the videos and I just fell in love with the game.
So, by chance, do you remember what year was that, or like what Five Nights at Freddy's era was that, like around FNAF 1, 2, 3?
FNAF 1, it was beginning of September.
Okay. Yeah, August 8th, so September works out. Yeah. So, obviously, you have said, you've done some collab parts before you started with your VHS series.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to now ask, what was your driving force? Like, what got you into the headspace of like, oh, I should make Five Nights at Freddy's analog horror content?
I think it was because conveniently, it was like 3 days actually before I released my first that I kind of discovered Squimpus' series actually, which is funny because people think that usually your first tape will usually be shit or just mediocre, and somehow my first tape that I made after 3 days of knowing what FNAF VHS is was praised and considered like very impactful, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah. Because I guess we'll shift the tone to your Five Nights at Freddy's VHS series. I want to say primarily what sets you apart is your very realistic feel.
I think the animatronic movement from my original tape series has aged poorly, in my opinion, compared to the new stuff that I do. Because my newer stuff is more based on found footage now compared to analog horror, because I think analog horror is overbloated now. So, and also the realism part. Yeah, not only that, but kind of just like with Paranormal Report, there was like no actual jump scare. It was only just Freddy looking at the individual, and then it cuts to black. Because I was kind of irritated with the jump scare, the whole like, you know, oh, you go jump scare the camera or the individual. I was like, no, f you, you're not getting any jump scare, no satisfaction.
I think not having a jump scare definitely benefits you.
Yeah.
So I want to say another thing, and I mainly want to point at your newer content, your newer found footage stuff. You definitely, and I honestly have no idea if they like you have this all like, you know, you're Scott Cawthon with the like with all the lore written out or anything, but the way you execute, I literally have it in my notes right here. Execute with intent. Everything about your newer content like tells me, oh, you have everything planned out from the beginning. And you know, you might not. You might just be sitting like, you might be, you know, twiddling your thumbs or something and be like, yeah, this looks cool. But the way you animate and set the scene, to be honest, is frankly just tells me that there's something here that I'm not getting, but I'm supposed to. And I think that does fantastic work, especially for your newer content.
Yeah, I think like the latest video that I made, it's never like explicitly told what happened, but if you just like take the moment to like read the description and also just look at what the animatronic's looking at, then you get the idea.
Yeah, I think that definitely it makes it a lot more interesting having to actually do the research, I guess, instead of just things being, you know, blatantly told to you like, oh, I was murdered, I'm gonna kill William Afton. Like, you gotta actually read between the lines and do a little, you know, little theorizing yourself. So I was looking at your channel and I noticed that you took a little bit of a break from, I guess, Five Nights at Freddy's content between our newest member and up to about a year ago with your animatronic joint test with Toy Bonnie. I guess I wanted, and you've uploaded a lot of stuff. You've uploaded, how many is it? Oh, the four Noob Nation summed up videos, and don't worry,
those videos.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you've uploaded some stuff in between there. I guess I wanted to get your headspace, where your headspace was at, in between that like year or two gap where you weren't uploading tapes and stuff.
It was just me thinking out something because I lost complete interest in that genre. So I was thinking of what ways I can get myself back into it without being overdone and milked out. So I just spent time just thinking of a new way of just telling a story, and also experimenting with my editing, with changing like making a film effect, because I don't really see people doing a film effect, and because film effects are usually more common naturally because they're usually cheaper in a way, because the quality of film is a lot more vast compared to VHS, because usually VHS is usually very compressed, usually around like 48p, and film is very VHS. I think there was like, for a period of time there was like high quality VHS, but it didn't last long. But film is very expensive. It can pretty much range in quality, and also it can age very well if you kind of treat it right.
So with your story, and I wrote this down, but I think after rewatching most of your stuff, I know this answer. With your VHS series, did you lean more towards the game lore, or were you expanding more into your own, like telling your own story?
It's more about my own. Yeah, in a way, it's my own story, but yet again, adding pieces that are different, but it won't change
a mix
the story.
match.
Yeah, it won't change it dramatically. It will still feel the same, but there will be some change-ups, like actually telling backgrounds and why some things how they are.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I would love if you talk to me a little bit about the process you go through when basically creating a video from thinking of the concepts and then to execution.
Usually, it always starts with just sitting down and listening to music. I think music is a heavy part of just because I can visualize stuff very easily, so music is a very good way of starting off. Then it's that, and also just looking at obscure media that kind of interests me, and try and fit that into the FNAF universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually when I do that, I usually just write down, get my notepad out, and just list out ideas, or usually just do a storyboard very quickly. And then I would usually it's either I do I think SFM work first. No, it wasn't SFM. It was a Hammer editor. Because if I'm like using like a set of a scene, I just go to Hammer editor. Usually just build out my environments. Usually not entirely, because there's some shots where you don't need to see them. Then usually I would go into SFM, then do whole animation process, yada yada yada. Then I would export it, then go and spend my time in the video editor, then usually just compile it together. Usually I would cut out a lot of things actually, so in the Freddy film there's a lot more footage that was never actually shown because
Really?
I didn't. Yeah, there actually is. I didn't want to show it because the lighting felt like off compared to the other parts, and I didn't have much time because it was already like 4 or 5 months of just spending on it. So I was like, I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's only short.
Oh wow.
And also, there's some shots that are kind of useless to show because it would just be repeating some other things. And then after that, I would usually just go through the effects process of just color correction, gamma, contrasts, then either some camera shake effects, and then the VHS or the film filter. Then I would usually just export it, then go to a different editor program, render in a specific low quality, specific bit rate, specific what's the word? It was something, but I forgot. And then I would usually go back into the editor, add I think a single effect or two, then export it, then it would be done.
Wow. So you wow, that's actually I will tell you this, that is a lot more steps than I do when making my VHS content.
Are you just still on Blender?
Yeah, I just basically render out the film in Premiere and then throw it into the Blender, the typical Blender VHS that everybody uses, and then just bring it back to Premiere. But no, that's dang, you put a lot of effort at with the bit rate and everything. Wow.
Yeah.
So you use SFM, and
yeah,
I personally speaking, I find the one downfall, my at least my personal downfall with SFM is it doesn't allow me to be fully creative, because SFM's very like strict on what maps you could like. You're stuck with using community made stuff, but you've definitely branched out in learning like the Hammer editor and everything to like actually build your own environments, which is basically I think it's just a great step up in making
it's
custom
that
content.
And also using the Garry's Mod Workshop as well, because I have a tool that can transfer Gmod add-ons into like physical like files that I can use in SFM. It's more expensive to Gmod Workshop than SFM's Workshop.
That definitely benefits you, having two different workshops. Going back, you've obviously made other content besides just your VHS stuff. Obviously, you have your Noob Nation summed up videos on your main channel, but you also you've got your second channel as well, where you do gaming content and stuff.
Schizo posting.
Schizo posting.
Best way of describing it.
What was the reason for uploading the Noob Nation some funny moments videos to your main channel?
That was kind of a shot in the dark, really, because I didn't know what outcome I was going to get from uploading that video. Not like my viewer audience, and talk about the frat friend circle, because I was pretty much just the one sitting in the back at the time, which is completely different to now. I'm like in the inner circle now, and they enjoyed it. So I'm like, it works then. I'll make more.
So, I have to point it out because it's very close, very dear to my heart. Your video that you made on the FNAF 2 open source video. The sigh does
We're
not
talking about this?
help me.
We're talking about this.
We are talking about this because I gotta ask. The editing style is so reminiscent of one YouTuber, and so I need to ask what editing style were you going for with that video?
I really wonder who I was emulating the editing style from.
I just hey man, I'm just asking the questions. I'm just looking for answers.
Bush.
So I'm gonna gather all my assumptions.
No, I'll be honest. It's too mad.
It's too mad.
Yeah, I'll be plain honest. It's too mad.
See, here's the issue. I can't tell if you're bullshitting me or not with that answer, because I'm thinking of a completely. If you're being honest, I'm thinking of a completely different YouTuber.
That you just made my head click when you just said that. Is it
Dr. Dash?
you're thinking of?
Yes, I am thinking of
I
Dr.
guess.
Dash.
because obviously there's a lot of connections. The editing style, saying, and also you're both British.
We're both from the north.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities that I saw from that video, and I was like, oh my god, he's just modern day Dr. Dash. It's great.
It's also a furry. It makes it even better.
Well, let's jump back a little bit to FNAF VHS. Out of all of your content, all of your VHS stuff, all of your Five Nights at Freddy's content you posted, what is your most favorite one that you've worked on, like the one you're most proud of, and what is your least favorite that you are like, you're my little child?
Okay, so if we're talking about the tapes from 2020, my favorite has pretty much got to be Paranormal Report, because I feel like that was kind of the first hole in one, and the others were just a miss. And the one that I just hate or despise the most looking back at it is either Aging Souls or Smile.
Really?
I hate it because it is literally just a counterfeit Squimpus Memories.
I understand it, but for Aging Souls is literally your most popular video. I honestly didn't expect that answer.
Views does not equal quality.
Understandable. I get you there. Honestly, I can't scrub through it on the thumbnail. God damn it. I have to rank Aging Souls as one of my favorites. I don't know why. I think but I was not expecting
memories.
that answer. So I guess I might be a little bit of a loaded question now that I've asked which one's your least favorite. If you could remake one video, which video would you remake?
If I have to go back, I'll probably expand on Case 094. Because I feel like there's so much more I could have done with that one. But the ending part was just, Just felt like, again, another Squimpus kind of just mixed in a way, which I don't like looking back at it. Because the idea was pretty much unique at the time, but the ending was just Squimpus mix.
Okay. Yeah, I think you really took a chance with Case 094 with just being a white background, and then if people wanted to turn on captions. I think it was definitely a very interesting choice.
It's funny because there was no captions at the time, and people were like, "Who the f is he trying to say?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll just add captions."
It can be hard. It can be hard with all those voice filters and VHS crackle sound effects.
It's just me going to Apple Studios and just ramming shit together and saying, "Yeah, job well done."
Just boom, wipe your hands clean. Like, all right, good enough. Let's go.
Just throw it in. Kids won't notice.
Kids will get the FNAF VHS kids will be like, "Oh my god, so spooky." How to watch it.
His voice doesn't sound human. It's spooky.
It's so scary.
Scary. Oh, I gotta eat dinner now.
So I guess I want to ask, besides Squimp, because we're not getting involved with Squimp here, what you can say Squimp. I don't really care. Who
Squimp?
Gotta let me ask the question first.
Squimp.
Who? So who in
Squimp.
Who do you look up to for inspiration?
I think you brought up a name beforehand, Rue 36. One of his tapes I remembered was like a screen with like multi cameras on it, and that gave me the idea for making the security VOD. But adding on that the cameras don't glitch out; they just look left and right. And so when the cameras like panned at the animatronic, they'll just move pretty much, which I kind of like. I'm surprised no one really expanded on that idea at all. Another person, which is I'm pretty sure everyone's forgot about, DBR_games. You remember that name?
I don't. That name does not ring a bell.
Because I remember they voice acted in the first Walten files I remember, and they did made a VHS series. And in one of them, I think was the opening of like the generic FBI like thing, like plastic from the tape, and that gave me the idea to make Case 094, which is like an investigation tape. And the last person, funnily enough, is you.
Oh,
You. I don't know what specifically, but first thing came to my head of people who inspired me is you.
You know, I'm gonna ask other people that exact question, and I'm worried because I'm worried there are gonna be other people that are inspired by me.
I mean, you were one of the first, so. Well,
that's sure, I guess, but it doesn't count because I technically work with Squimp, and then I was like, all right, fine, yeah, this looks cool. Let me do my own. Fine, thank you. I'm very honored.
Hooray!
Well, just to rebuttal, Joe, you are very inspiring yourself with your VHS tapes. I definitely look up to you with some of mine. Well, I mean, I stole some of your sound effects, so yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, your latest tape.
My latest tape?
Because I noticed. What was your latest tape name again?
Oh, Pirate Cove introduction tape. Oh,
I wonder what that's based off of.
Oh my!
Oh. Told that my last tape I ever made.
God, that's such a rip. Now that I look at that, oh God, Joe, I'm sorry.
It's fine as long as you incorporate some of your own things. It's okay.
I'm a fraud, guys. I'm sorry, everyone. The show's canceled. I'm a fraud. I'm just stealing content.
Ribbit.
Oh my God.
You're not a fraud.
I'm just stealing people's content, guys. Nobody is safe.
I steal content. I stole from Squimpus with aging souls.
Who hasn't stolen from? We're all stealing from Squimpus with this goddamn series.
Yeah.
No, nobody is safe from theft.
Exactly. That's why I should be legal.
So Walten Files. There we go. You mentioned Walten Files earlier. Woody's who was it? Abby Waltern.
Yeah, that.
So obviously a little bit of inspiration from the Walten Files.
It was a nod.
A nod.
Because
Okay.
because at the time, the one file was literally just no one knew what the it was at the time. So I was like, I was just nodding to it because I thought it was a good series for the time. Now I'm just with it.
Do you think FNAF VHS is dying?
I feel like it's a case with FNAF SFM where it's going to be a subgenre of its own where it won't die out.
Do you think it'll be here years to come? Nuclear apocalypse comes and it's still there living amongst the cockroaches?
Well, it is a cockroach of a series, so yeah.
Yeah, and after the nuclear fallout, the cockroaches are going to be writing their own FNAF VHS content.
The cockroach files.
Um,
Give a bunch of stock cockroach images talking to one another.
Let me ask another question. If I can find one. Five Nights at Freddy's VHS, I feel, is very unique in its aspect that... Let me cut straight to the point. Do you think another game series has the potential to have its own, like, VHS community like Five Nights at Freddy's does?
I actually never thought of that, actually. I feel like there has been like a lot of attempts over series, everything, games, and shows, movies. There have been other attempts, but nothing's really clicked with any other series.
I feel the only game series that I feel that could possibly lean into is like something like Poppy's Playtime or Garten of Banban, but I feel is unfair to claim so because they are just of themselves FNAF-ish ripoffs, just being
just mascot horrors.
But yeah, just mascot horror games. So we're wrapping up the interview here, Joe. It's been very nice. Just a few more questions, and then I'll let you get back to obviously doing very important content creation work.
Very important.
Very important work. So, of FNAF, who is your most favorite animatronic, and who is your least favorite animatronic?
Favorite, kind of blatantly obvious. Foxy the Pirate. Least favorite, what would be my least favorite? Part of me says, no. It's thinking of Dee Dee.
Dee Dee?
Yeah, how unfortunate.
Very unfortunate in the case of Dee Dee.
Yeah.
And then
they only peaked in FNAF World Fishing and they fell off.
To be honest, I think Dee Dee should have just stayed in FNAF World. Didn't need to make
fishing
and should have stayed fishing in FNAF World. Was a mistake coming to Ultimate Custom Night.
Exactly.
Last question before I let you spiel your content and where people can find you. If you, Mr. JoeLonic, were in Five Nights at Freddy's, any game, what game would you be in, and what would be your mechanic?
I would pick FNAF 4. And my mechanic would just be just turning on the lights and turning them back off. Just be a nuisance.
Generalized nuisance character, just come in. Gotcha.
Who's flickering the lights?
Nosferatu. So, Joe, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to interview. People are probably not going to see this, if everything goes well, not till October. So, October. So, I'm going to let you I'm going to roll the red carpet out for you, Joe.
Okay.
This camera.
Is it clean? Is it clean?
Cleaned it just for you.
Oh, you showed a stain on it.
Ignore that. That was from a prior interview.
But this is the first interview, though. What do you mean prior interview?
It'll make sense in the future. Well, Joe, where can the people find you? Where can the people find you?
People can find me, Duh, and, Duh.
there and there.
Exactly. They'll understand.
They'll understand.
They'll understand.
You know how much effort you're gonna make me into putting shit in, editing shit in.
Also, you can find me here and also here.
Thank you, Joe.
No problem.
Well, everybody, this has been the night shift. Thank you all for tuning in. Next guest is I have no clue who the next guest is.
I really wonder I don't know who the next guest is actually. I actually kind of forgot.
I don't know, but I hope it's a good one. I will see you guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
That's a wrap, Joe. We did it. We made it through. I can't see the
did it.
timestamp. 45 minutes. That's acceptable for me. I can work with...
That was the minimum you said.
Yeah, I can work with 45 minutes of content.
Hooray.
Great to finally meet you and chat a little bit. Thank you for giving me your time. It's been a pleasure chit-chatting with you. I'm probably gonna go play Into the Pit now.
Okay.
Well, it's been nice chatting with you, Joe. I'll see you around.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Joe.